Hi Stampers, this is Trevis. Welcome to Video Tuesday. And so today for our video, I thought it might be fun to get a little artsy. And so instead of just doing some stamping or even a cute fun fold, I thought it'd be fun to do some a technique that I especially love, but I don't do it very often. It's called Resist technique. And so you need a heat gun. Okay, so you need your heat tool, you need some embossing powder, and I'm going to be using some blending brushes today and different inks, so let's get started today. Okay, so the colors I'm going to be using today are Pretty Peacock and Wild Wheat, and so I think these two colors are kind of fallish in a way. They look really good together because they're both warm colors. And so I'm also going to be using Memento Black and some VersaMark. And don't be shocked, I got a new VersaMark pad. Oh, look how pretty it is. I hope that it's fully inked. I can't really tell. I do have my reinker just in case. It should be fine, but you just never know. So let's get started. I am going to be using a piece of thick basic white cardstock to start with. The stamp sets that I chose today are inked and tiled. So this is a red rubber red rubber set. It has 12 stamps in it. Has lots of sentiments, which is super nice. It also has these stamps, which really talk to me. Okay, so this is the stamp I'm going to be using today, and also I'm going to be using a sentiment out of here. I may end up using this one. I'm not 100% sure. I may go with this one, so let's see how this rolls. This is the stamp I'm going to use. Put this on my block. So it's kind of a wide, skinny stamp, so I got this nice block, and this is letter, which block is this? This is I, letter I block. It's a little bit bigger than most of the blocks I use. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this in VersaMark, and then I'm going to bring in some clear embossing powder, and I'm going to clear emboss it. Okay, so let's see how this rolls. So start with a clean stamp. Okay, ink this up. I can see that it's inking up nicely, so you want a lot of nice ink on there, without trying to get the edges too much. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that. Looks really nice and fully inked. I'm just going to ink this up. Stamp this, sorry. Stamp this. Okay. And then, before I clear powder it, I'm going to stamp the other stamp, and this is a nice stamp too, and I'm thinking I might use this instead. I really like that. It's kind of I don't know what you would call it, like a vintage stamp. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up also, and just stamp this a couple times on here. Stamp one up here, and one kind of down here. If it overlaps a little bit, it's okay. Okay, so now I am going to bring my clear embossing powder in. So the clear embossing powder comes in the little jars, right? But I bought several of those, and I put it in my container. Okay, I have my little spoon. You could dip it in if you like, but this works really well. Okay, and then you just want to flick that off. All right, so looking good. Take a little bit off if I see a little extra on there. Ooh, doesn't really look like my flower. Hang on a second. Oh, didn't get. You need to look at it to make sure you get powder everywhere. I was going to say the flower didn't get any powder on it. Okay, that looks really good. So for now, I'm going to close this and see how this rolls. You don't want to start your heat gun with your powder nearby and open, because you'll end up with powder everywhere. Okay, so this is going to take a moment to heat. Okay, so bear with me. I'm putting this on number 2 because I want the full heat. When you heat the powder, 1 is basically for vellum. 2 is for paper. You want to just bring full heat on. Going to let it heat up for a few seconds, and then it's going to start heating the embossing powder. You're not going to be able to see it too well until I add some ink because, hope you can hear me, because it's clear. Okay, so I could have embossed this in other colors like silver or gold, but I opted for clear because I'm just doing a resist technique. Okay, so I'm getting all these little pieces that I embossed, that I used VersaMark and powder on. Okay, looks really good. Now I'm going to let that cool for a few seconds and see if I have any powder on here. I'm going to knock that off. Okay. All right, now that's cool. And now I'm going to use my blending brushes. So I have my Pretty Peacock. I'm going to start with that. I should probably clean these stamps, but I'll do that in a little while. Okay, so I'm going to close my VersaMark pad. Okay, so I'm just using my dark blue blending brush. Okay, this is very richly inked. And you can start to see when I go over this with my blending brush how the resist is going to pop. Okay. Can you see that? So everywhere that I embossed, and all of my cool embossing is going to resist. Now I'm going to do this in increments. So I'm going to go up a little higher. Okay, then I'm going to bring in some wild wheat. And then okay, ooh, starting to like it. I think it needs a little more color. Kind of down here. I want it a little darker at the bottom than at the top. So it's almost like an ombre. And if I do it darker at the bottom, I can just keep adding. And then just let this kind of go, and then blend this in a little more. So where it's not so one color than the next color. It's more like a smooth transition. Okay, it's looking good. I like it. A little more down here. Everywhere you go darker, it's going to just pop even more. Okay, so for now, I'm going to close. Not going to close these all the way because I'm going to use them again, I think. But I'm just going to close it a little bit. I'm not going to wash these, right? I'm just going to take the ink off. Okay, so now what I want to do is I have my little spritzer. Okay, so we sell these, and these are called Stampin' Spritzers. Filled it with water. Okay, and this is interesting. Sometimes you get blobs, which is okay for this technique. Sometimes if you just want a nice smooth mist, it's hard. You need to practice, but for this technique, I'm good with this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of that. Okay, and then I'm going to take some ink off. Okay, now I want a little more over here. So I'm just gonna do little flecks. Okay, and I just want it to, what it'll do is it will lift the ink off. And that's why I have the paper towel, so I can actually take some of that ink off. So can you see where that water hit and what it did with that ink? So this is water-based ink. So when you touch it with water, yeah, it's gonna start doing things, activating things. All right, so I might need just a couple more of these. I actually like how that mister works on this one. It's very fine and it's beautiful. I might just add a few more blobs over here. Let that activate for a second and then lift it off. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so now can you see what happened? It actually lifted up that ink. It's gorgeous. All right, so now what I want to do is I am going to just bring a little, maybe just a little more color around the edge. And I'm going to just really hone in on those edges and make it nice and dark. My paper's still a little bit wet. Okay, you could definitely use watercolor paper for this technique. That might be like a really very, very cool thing. Now see what happened? On these edges where it's still a little wet, it made those blobs darker, which is gorgeous. Okay, let's do a little more at the top on the wild wheat. Ooh, I went really dark. That was not planned, but guess what? I think it'll be okay. When you take a paper towel and you resist. Okay, so since that happened, I'm going to add some dark down here, just kind of like that. To kind of match that top. Yes. Ooh, I brought a little color there. I didn't need to do that. I'm going to take that back off. So you can take off the ink from your Resist stamped. Okay. All right. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with that. I love it. I actually love how that looks. So now I want to add a sentiment. And I'm looking at these sentiments in this set. We have, hello friend, happy birthday, thank you. I'm thinking something right here. And on this, in this stamp I have, you're a great friend. I don't really care for those for this. I need something a little florally. And I think I'm just going to go with hello friend. And I'm going to stamp this. Now you want to make sure your paper's dry. So let's dry it a little bit. You can dry your paper with your heat gun. It'll make your paper curl a little bit, but guess what? When you glue it down, all good. Okay. All right, so now that's dry. And I'm going to just stamp in Memento Black. You want to make sure it's dry, right? Because Memento Black could bleed too with water. So I have to decide where to put this. I could either put it right here, down here. Trying to decide. Actually, I like it up here, I think. Okay, don't want to mess this up now since I'm this far along. I'm just going to stamp this. I'm going to practice. I'm going to practice and make sure it's straight. Yes, it's straight. Not very bold, though. Practicing helped me decide if I want to use that or not. Maybe I want to use a little bolder stamp. Yeah, I might want to. Might want to use like thank you. Should I make this a thank you card? Faith over fear. Beyond grateful. Wishing you to have, that's too big. I want something small that's going to fit right in these one of these little areas. And I just don't think this is bold enough. I like the saying, I like the sentiment, but it's just not bold enough. Okay, that's not going to work. So, hello friend is out. None of those inked and tiled sentiments are going to work. What about, hello? What about hello? That'd be too florally right there. Gosh, I'm having a dilemma on what sentiment to use. And I'm really liking a birthday sentiment. You're the best ever. Ooh. I think maybe you're the best ever. It's nice and bold. Okay, so this is very best occasions. This is kind of a new stamp set that I just got. You're the best ever. And look, that could be like, that could go to your spouse. That could go to your best friend. Stamp it on your grid paper and make sure that it's going to be straight. I'll put it right here. Oh, I love it. I think I made the right choice. I love it. Okay, I think I'm done. I have like a plethora of stamp sets. That's okay. All right, so now I'm going to use Stampin' Seal Plus because this will work really good for this cardstock that's a little bit over the top bent. And I want to make sure it sticks and doesn't come up. I'm going to mount this on a piece of black with a very small edge. And the reason is because the focal point of this card, now let me tell you, this is very sticky tape. So get it right. Look at that. And then I have a piece of Wow Wheat. I'm going to fold this, and I don't think I have a bone folder here. And I need a bone folder. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Okay. And again, I'm going to put some tape. I'm using a lot of tape, guys. I know you're thinking, why are you using that much tape on with this super seal, the super seal, but I need to because I want to make sure it sticks. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love this card. I love everything about it. I like the resist technique. I love the colors. I love the blotches, how it lifted off. I love it. I hope you do too. My name's Trevis Bossler. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in St. Louis, Missouri, and I appreciate your likes and shares. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye.